Hey everyone, you can see we've got winter storm warnings stretching from California, Oregon, and Idaho down into the Rocky Mountains, reaching as far south as New Mexico. We also have high wind watches and warnings in effect for many areas. Our atmospheric river and monster West Coast storm are rocketing across the Intermountain West, preparing to move into the plains. As that happens, the East Coast is bracing for a widespread, impactful storm. Winter weather advisories and watches have been issued up north, while flood watches are in effect from Little Rock all the way to near Pittsburgh. Nearly the entire states of Kentucky, West Virginia, and Tennessee are currently under a flood watch. We'll talk more about the flooding risk in a moment, but first let's focus on the most significant concern with this storm system, the warm sector, where we expect to see significant severe weather tomorrow, including tornadoes. Cities like Shreveport, Jackson, and Birmingham, and possibly as far north as Memphis, are under an enhanced risk of severe weather. This is driven by the threat of strong, damaging winds and tornadoes. In fact, we already have a 10% hatched risk of tornadoes in the mid-Mississippi River Valley, where Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana meet. There's also a 5% probability of tornadoes extending from Montgomery back into East Texas. A major issue with tomorrow's storms will be strong winds. Get ready, Memphis and Birmingham, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds are possible as a powerful squall line races through. Tonight's radar outlook around 6 p.m. Eastern, the radar shows scattered snow showers, which will be extremely heavy at times from Oregon down into New Mexico and Arizona, especially in the higher elevations. Expect intermittent blizzard conditions as the monster storm system that slammed California yesterday lingers. However, it's producing less precipitation over the mountains now, because the Sierra Nevada wrung out much of the moisture. As the upper level system moves from the mountains into the plains, it will tap into Gulf moisture, allowing the storm to redevelop with snow, heavy rain, and freezing rain, possibly from southern Iowa into Indiana and Ohio. Severe storms and flooding risk. Look at these thunderstorms forming around 6 a.m. tomorrow, producing intense rainfall rates from Little Rock, Memphis, and Nashville up towards Cincinnati, Lexington, and Louisville. These storms will bring significant flooding concerns, especially in western Kentucky and western Tennessee. If you're in a flood-prone area, stay alert. By the afternoon, our focus shifts southward, where we expect significant severe weather between 4 p.m. and midnight. A powerful squall line will develop from Shreveport up past Memphis, bringing 60 to 70 mile per hour winds and a robust tornado threat. This squall line is expected to reach Memphis around 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. By that time, severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings will likely be widespread. Additionally, prefrontal supercells could form between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m., particularly in Mississippi, where isolated storms could produce tornadoes. Most tornadoes will come from embedded supercells within the squall line, likely QLCS tornadoes, quick forming, short-lived, but dangerous. By midnight to 1 a.m., the storm will impact Nashville, moving past Lexington, Kentucky, and into Huntsville, Alabama. Birmingham, expect impacts around 2 to 3 a.m. This storm could cause widespread damage, so stay weather aware. Winds could extend as far east as northwest Georgia and even eastern Tennessee. I wouldn't be surprised if the slight risk area gets expanded farther east, or if we see a day 2 slight risk for early Sunday morning. This storm system won't let up until it reaches the Appalachian Mountains, continuing well into Sunday. A quick word from today's sponsor. But before we dive further into that, I want to take a brief moment to shout out today's awesome sponsor, Aura, all-in-one protection from online threats. Have you ever used an app that asks for your location and granted access because it makes life easier? I know I do that all the time. But when it comes to free apps, I'm always a little hesitant. Many of them request location data to sell it to data brokers who package your personal information into detailed profiles and auction it off to the highest bidder. This can include banks, health insurance companies, employers, predatory lenders, law enforcement, marketers, political campaigns, debt collectors, and even scammers. If you search for yourself online, you'll likely find your personal information for sale somewhere. My information used to appear on these sites, but not anymore, thanks to Aura. Aura identifies data brokers selling your information and submits opt-out requests on your behalf. Within a few weeks, you'll notice a big difference when you search for yourself online. You'll find a link at the top of the description. And 14 days is plenty of time to see if it's the right fit for you. I'm pretty sure you'll want to stick with it. Back to the weather now. Let's get back to the forecast. Here's the full storm progression again. The peak tornado threat looks to be between 3 p.m. and 7 p.m., followed by a main focus on strong, damaging straight-line winds as the system progresses. By the time these storms reach Jackson, Mississippi, Nashville, Tennessee, and Birmingham, Alabama, there will still be an embedded tornado threat, but the squall line will primarily bring destructive winds. Another major concern with this storm is the heavy rainfall. In a short period of time, up to 5 inches of rain could fall around Memphis, the Booth Heel of Missouri, and southwestern Kentucky. A widespread area from Little Rock to Cincinnati and possibly as far east as Charleston, West Virginia, could receive 2 to 3 inches of rain. Many of these locations already have saturated ground with rivers and creeks running high. In eastern Kentucky, our local river isn't even expected to crest until this afternoon. And if we get another 3 inches of rain on top of that, it could lead to significant flooding. If you live in a flood-prone area, please be prepared. The Weather Prediction Center has issued a rare moderate risk for excessive rainfall covering nearly all of Kentucky, southern Ohio, western West Virginia, and middle and western Tennessee, stretching from Memphis to Charleston. These are the areas most at risk for flash flooding and river flooding. If you live near a river, creek, or stream, take precautions now. Heavy snowfall to the north. Our monster storm system will also bring significant snowfall to the north. Cities like Chicago, Southern Ontario, upstate New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine are in for a major snowstorm. By Monday morning, most of Michigan will have over 10 inches of snow on the ground, especially north of Detroit. The same goes for upstate New York, north of Albany, and northern Maine. The heaviest snow totals will extend into Quebec as well. But watch what happens next as I pull this forecast even farther into the future. More storms on the way. Once this storm is over, we're going to continue with daily videos because another large-scale, high-impact winter storm is on the way next week. By Tuesday around 4 p.m., we could be seeing heavy snow as far south as Oklahoma City and Little Rock. At the same time, severe storms may develop in Houston and New Orleans. This winter storm could become another southern system, potentially impacting Memphis, Nashville, East Tennessee, and North Carolina. This looks like a big one for the southern Appalachians and possibly the mid-Atlantic region. In fact, it could even curl up the East Coast and become a classic nor'easter. This could turn into one of the most interesting snow systems of the year. Looking ahead to February 19th. It's still too early to discuss specifics, and we need to focus on our current severe weather situation first. However, on the Day 5 outlook, February 19th, models suggest a winter storm from Kansas City to St. Louis, extending down to Oklahoma City and Little Rock. By the next day, that snow could move east, affecting Knoxville, Lexington, Charleston, Philadelphia, New York City, Baltimore, D.C., Richmond, Greenville, and Charlotte. This system could continue into New England, becoming a major East Coast storm. Right now, there's only a 20% probability for this event, and things will likely change. However, this is the strongest winter storm signal we've seen this year, aside from the historic Gulf Coast blizzard. Winter isn't over yet. If you're a snow lover, this storm could be a big one, but since models often flip-flop, I don't want to jump to conclusions just yet. For those who are ready for winter to end, I get it. We've already had a wild season. But it's important to remember it's only mid-February. These types of storms can continue through mid-March, so buckle in. The cold air isn't going anywhere anytime soon. At least through February 23rd, below average temperatures are expected across most of the U.S., except for Alaska, Hawaii, and parts of the West Coast, where temperatures will begin to return to normal or even above average. After February 21st, warmer air will gradually move east, but for now, our focus should stay on February 23rd and the days leading up to it. Stay tuned for live coverage. There's so much going on, and we have to take these storms one at a time. It'll be a couple of days before I can fully dive into the next big winter storm. But in the meantime, make sure to tune in tomorrow for our live stream. We'll likely be live for 12 hours, covering hundreds of severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings across the Mid-South and Deep South. It looks like it's going to be a dangerous day, so turn on notifications, subscribe, and stay informed. A huge thank you to Aura once again. Thank you to Aura for sponsoring this video. Sponsorships help us so much. So the more you guys interact with them, the more they may support us in the future. I appreciate you all. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.